All this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us at the First Alert Digital News Desk. Great to have you streaming along on this fine Monday morning. The sun is shining over Lake Winnebago and Oshkosh. You can see some fall colors on the trees out there as well, downtown Oshkosh. That is great to see. Time now 8:33 on this Monday, October 20th. And if you didn't get enough of the Bro Show this morning, Chief Meteorologist Steve Beylon and I joining once again. We had Kristen there as well, Steve, so can't call it quite a Bro Show, but
yeah, she's right back here.
Held it down. Kristen's working hard back there, getting ready for the 9 as well. Great to see her. Steve, it was a frosty start to our work week, and you know, that is something that you did first alert us to last week, so people should not have been surprised at the cool temperatures that we had out there this morning.
Yeah, we talked about it at the end of last week, and I was giving that first alert in our Super 7-day forecasts, and I'm sure that our meteorologists, Nolan Kane and Emily Mers, had talked about it over the weekend as well. That way people weren't surprised. And yeah, we got a little candy coating of frost across the area. Not everybody saw it, but you know, if you didn't protect those cold sensitive plants, they may have been damaged a bit overnight. We are above freezing right now in Green Bay. We'll show you a live shot. This is a nice scene from downtown looking out towards Lambeau Field. And you can see all that pretty fall foliage in the foreground. And you know, when I look at that, Emerson, I don't know about you, but let me share from my experiences. When I was a kid, you know, in elementary school, I'd go to art class. And I remember, you know, we would do different projects and whatnot. And I remember one of the things that we used to do was sponge painting, where we had little sponges, and you dip them in like the tempera paint, and you do this, you know, on the paper,
yes. And
then you do different colors. See, that's what, to me, that fall foliage shot looks like, because you got some of the greens in there, but you also have some of the reds and oranges and the yellows in there. So yeah, it looks like sponge paint to me. Anyway, I'm just kind of going up.
That was the easiest art project to do in school,
right?
Steve, because you just needed to kind of push it on the paper, and it did the work for you.
And for those who don't have a lot of artistic ability, then you know, you show your picture, and your teacher's like, right, and there you go. You get a perfect score. Sunny, 35 degrees, calm air. Now, it got as cold as 33 this morning in Green Bay. And I know that's not down to the freezing mark, technically speaking. But you have to remember that when we show you temperatures from the National Weather Service, they're not recorded right at the Earth's surface. They're taken roughly 6 feet off the ground. So, you know, your temperature may say 33, but right where your little tender plants are trying to survive in your garden, right at the Earth's surface, it might be a few degrees colder. So I'm sure it got colder than 33 in your garden last night. Got down to 26 this morning in Oconto. Got down to 29 degrees in Watoma. But up we go. We're at 41 right now in Appleton, 40 in Manitowoc, and it's still 34 degrees in Anago and in Marinette. Temperatures will be jumping up in leaps and bounds, Mr. Emerson. We'll be up to 51 degrees at 10 o'clock, 62 at 1 p.m., a high of 64. We'll see sunshine the next few hours mixed with some clouds, but those clouds will really become noticeable late in the day. The other thing that you'll notice is that it's going to be breezy. Maybe not so much now, but this afternoon. South winds will be very gusty. So some of that pretty fall foliage is probably going to get stripped off the trees and kind of float around. I think Emerson's probably hoping the leaves land in his neighbor's yard and not in his yard, because then that means, you know.
Fortunately, Steve, I rent an apartment, so
you don't have to do any raking.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with it. Looking at those temperatures, yeah, it's a bit breezy. Sure, we'll have to deal with that, but that is pretty nice compared to what we're usually dealing with on October 20th, right?
Yeah, I mean, because our average or normal high is 56. We'll be above that. I mean, we're looking at low and mid 60s this afternoon. So, a lot of our highs will be about 5-10 degrees warmer than normal. So really, if you enjoy comfortable temperatures in late October, you really shouldn't have any complaints. Now, I think, that this warm weather is going to be relatively short-lived because, it's blowing in today because of this south wind, which will redistribute some of those leaves that are falling off the trees. Gusts this afternoon will be around 20 to 30 miles an hour. But once that wind turns to the west, as a cool front comes across the area tonight, that's going to bring in some sweeping changes. And Emerson, this is our next weather maker. So as this cool front comes through tonight, we're going to have a round of some light rain this evening. And then, well, surprise, surprise, behind the cool front, it is going to turn cooler. So our highs will go from the low to mid 60s today to near 50 Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And we'll still be in the low 50s on Friday. So those 4 days in a row, our temperatures will be at or below average for this time of year.
We'll enjoy our Monday, Steve. Enjoy that sunshine on our Monday. The temperature's mid 60s, and then that Wisconsin roller coaster just kind of continues. Another quick little dip, and then sort of, kind of, maybe climbing a little bit back up again.
Yeah, that slow little click, 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 click on the roller coaster goes back up as we go into Saturday and Sunday. But at least it's not a steep drop. We've seen those at times in the autumn. So here is our satellite and radar view. While we've got sunshine and some passing clouds, if you look back across the northern plains, you can see it's raining. And look in the arrowhead of Minnesota. We'll loop this again. Do you see some of the pinks and the whites showing up there? There's been a little bit of some wet snow and some mixed precipitation there. We're not going to get any snow here, but it is a sign of things to come in the months ahead. But I want to draw your attention to this area of low pressure because it is pushing a cool front across our region. That's going to help kick off that shower chance as we go into tonight. And then more importantly, high above us at the jet stream level. So, we're like a good 20 or 30,000 feet up in the atmosphere. Low pressure is going to carve out what we call a trough across the Great Lakes. And what that basically is that the steering winds, the jet stream, that's diving south of us. And that helps to blow the colder air out of Canada down into Wisconsin. And we also get cold air blowing across Lake Superior. And so Lake Superior is relatively mild in comparison. So as you get this lake effect breeze blowing this Canadian air across Lake Superior into northeast Wisconsin, we tend to get a lot of clouds, we tend to get some lake-enhanced showers, and temperatures tend to be cooler than average. So let's go into the future and kind of map this out. Here's first alert pinpoint predictor. Sunshine mixed with some passing clouds. Still generally sunny to partly cloudy, 1 o'clock this afternoon. But by 4 p.m., the sun's starting to fade away. Partly sunny skies, and then overcast this evening. Rain, light to moderate rain in central Wisconsin around 7 p.m. That arrives in the Fox Cities in Green Bay around 9, 10 o'clock. So if you're watching Action 2 News at 10, meteorologist David Ernst, he'll be showing those showers cutting across the area. The rain doesn't last very long, just a few hours. And then by 1 a.m., it's scooting out of Door County, and we'll see a partial clearing overnight heading into daybreak Tuesday. But by early Tuesday morning, clouds are funneling back in, and what's happening is we're getting colder air upstairs in the atmosphere, and that helps to make the atmosphere a bit unstable, especially when there's some early sun, because when the sun shines down on the ground, that warmth from the sun, that warm air rises up into the cooler air aloft, helping to form clouds and condensation. So basically the sun shine in the morning kind of self-destructs the sky, and it turns all of a sudden overcast, and you get these little sprinkly showers that pop up. And these lake effect shower chances, tomorrow 40%, Wednesday 30% rainfall is going to be on the light side. So there's your First Alert Super 7-day forecast. Today, sun, then increasing afternoon clouds, mild, turning breezy, a high of 64 degrees. Rainfall through tonight on First Alert Pinpoint Predictor. Nothing to write home about. I mean, but we'll take it. It's been relatively dry this autumn, but most folks will see less than 1/4 inch of precipitation. I would not expect the rainfall to be any heavier Tuesday into Wednesday. Those 2 days in particular, cloudy, cool, breezy, showers possible, especially in the midday and afternoon hours. Highs will be very close to 50. I do think we'll have drier weather on Thursday, and the clouds may break open from time to time, but still breezy and cool with a high of 50. Now, Emerson, I can't remember. You don't have a green thumb, do you?
No.
No. You don't have any like little potted plants on like your patio or deck or anything?
I avoid plants at all costs.
You avoid, well, wait a minute. You eat vegetables, right? Okay.
Like to think so.
Live plants, is that what you're saying? Live plants, okay. So you don't have a green thumb. All right, so I know we first alerted people over the weekend about frost.
Yep.
And, it wasn't really enough to be a killing frost overnight. But Thursday night, you see there in the Super 7-day forecast, I've got a low of 29 degrees. So heading into Friday morning, that might be a hard freeze, especially away from Lake Michigan, away from Door County. Let me show you the latest on First Alert Pinpoint Predictor. This is Predictor's prediction for frost early Friday morning. And it's especially in that deep purple color. I think that's where you might get that hard freeze heading in early Friday. So the growing season is over across the North Woods. That's why north of Highway 64, there wasn't any frost advisory posted overnight. But I think Thursday night and into Friday morning, this might be the end of the growing season for the Fox Valley. This might be it. So anyway, if you're trying to keep that garden alive, this might be it. Or, if you can bring the plants inside somehow, depending on what you got going on in your situation.
Do you have a green thumb, Steve?
I've tried. I'm not that good at growing things. We used to have a garden at our house, and we grew as many weeds as we did pepper plants and tomato plants. And plus, the rabbits were very fond of our garden. We had to try to, get the fencing around and try to keep them out. Needless to say, after a couple of years, we kind of gave up and just planted grass.
I think what the problem for me is that weeding, like the flower beds and garden, that was a chore for us if we got in trouble with mom at home for me and my siblings. So I just associate, spending time in the garden and weeds with being in trouble. So,
it has bad connotation for you, basically.
Yeah, so I just, more power to the folks who are able to do that and do that well.
See,
I'm not one of those people.
You know what we need to do? We need to give you some sort of experience where it's positive connotation. So if you get out and you do some weeding or some gardening, and then something good happens to Emerson, right? Well, maybe we'll give you a treat or something, like some Halloween candy, maybe.
A treat, yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Halloween candy, can I sneak in one more little graphic for you?
Yeah, please.
So on Friday and this morning, I decided, you know what? I'm going to give out First Alert updates on the Halloween forecast. Now, granted, when you're trying to forecast any weather 11 days in advance, you should always take it with a grain of salt. But
What?
Forecasts 11 days in advance are not always accurate? No, they're not. No. But I do want to put it out there because this is not meant to be hype or something sensationalistic. But what it's meant to be is something to help parents get an idea of, okay, what is Halloween going to look like this year? I'm like, is this going to be like a Halloween where the kids are bundled up with the coats and the costume is underneath the coats? Or is this going to be a Halloween where kids are walking around in T-shirts? Or heaven forbid, it's a Halloween where there's snow on the ground, because that's happened before too. I don't think Halloween's going to be too bad. Our First Alert update here is that Halloween looks cloudy, breezy during the day, highs in the low 50s. And when kids are going out trick-or-treating around sunset, temperatures in the upper half of the 40s and still overcast. Now, again, 11 days out, this can change. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay on top of this, and I'm going to First Alert you and your family and the kids. And that way, as we get closer and closer to the actual holiday, this forecast will become more perfected, more fine, more accurate. And, we'll make changes as we get fresh data in the First Alert Weather Center. We're just going to keep on top of it because it's important. A lot of families are really looking forward to, not this Friday, but next Friday, and hopefully the forecast pans out.
Do you have a favorite Halloween costume, Steve, from growing up trick-or-treating?
So when I was a kid, my mom would dress me up as a clown every Halloween, all through elementary school.
We need pictures of this.
Well, gosh, I feel like I've submitted them to the station before. Like if you talk to our buddy Ted Miller, there may be in some of the files.
We're gonna find some of those. That needs to
yeah.
make an appearance.
I didn't have any objections to it. I mean, I was just in elementary school. But when I got into middle school, I kind of outgrew that costume, and my buddy and I, we would dress up as hockey players. Like we would put on bruises and cuts on our face and blood, and we would go from door to door like passing a puck around, like ball hockey style. And and of course in high school that all went away. What about you? What was your favorite costume growing up?
I don't know. I was trying to think about that before I asked you the question because I knew you were gonna come back to me with a response like that. I remember going as a vampire one year. That was pretty fun. The fake teeth, and the blood coming down. That was a good time. I don't have any others that really stand out to me, to be honest with you.
No pickleball outfits, huh?
The traditional Scream mask one year.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, those are still out there, right?
In grade school, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably need to. I'm gonna have to text my mom and have her remind me some of my favorites because we did something new every year, so it kind of You weren't
well, if you change it every year, then it's easy to forget. But if you do the same one year after year after year, because my thrifty mom, she was.
You remember the clown nose that you were wearing every year?
I don't know if I wore a clown nose. I think she painted it on.
You went with the paint?
Yeah, with the paint. But the costume was the exact same. It was like a green clown costume, and I'm trying to remember what kind of accessories it had. I also knew I carried around this plastic round pumpkin to collect the candy. Yeah, but ask Ted, because I think he's got somewhere in his vault of goodies.
All right, Steve. Well,
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if it's not there somewhere.
You've got Action 2 News mid-morning in 10 minutes, so we'll let you get going. You and Kristen are going to hold it down out there. And for folks, they can get all your First Alert weather updates all the time at our First Alert weather app. You can scan your screen right here if you're watching on your TV. And if you're watching on your smartphone, well, guess what? As soon as we finish this stream, go ahead to the Apple Store or Google Play and download that First Alert weather app. You can hear from Steve, Nolan, Emily, Brad, David, the whole weather team, giving you all the updates that are needed, keeping you first alerted, you and your family safe. That'll do it for us this morning. Thanks so much for streaming along, and make sure to go tune in to Action 2 News mid-morning, starting up in about 10 minutes on Action 2 News. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Have a great Monday.